भावना मैम, आपने एडमिट किया गया अभी किसी को?
Yes.
अभी एडमिट मत करो मैम अब किसी को।
Okay. Okay. Very good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to all the participants joining us today for our exciting Google Gemini education session. This session will be led by Honorable Sangeeta Gulati ma'am, who is certified Google trainer and innovator also. She is a certified CBSE trainer Also a National ICT Award 2016 certified. So guys, just a small information. Once the session will complete, you will get the feedback form for your attendance. Once you complete this feedback form, then only you will be able to download your certificate for Google Gemini. So once the session will get over, please fill the feedback form. Over to you, Sangeeta ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bhavna. And welcome to our audience here. Welcome to all the students who have joined in, who are going to be following us on YouTube, and also maybe those who will watch the recording later. So thank you for joining this session today, where we are going to talk about Gemini. So again, I'm going to just start by sharing my screen, but would like you to interact through YouTube chat. Let us know if you have tried Gemini. So when we think about Gemini, again, we are talking about the Google AI. So Gemini is one of the generative AI tool, which is really making a difference in the way that you and I are working. I as a teacher and you as a student. So let's get started with that and let's see what you are putting in the chat. Again, I will not be able to follow the YouTube chat alongside, but the team is going to follow up. So do let us know, what your experience has been, and let's get the conversation going. So starting with just the first thought as to what we are going to be talking about today is, of course, the use of AI. So how can Gemini help you study smarter? So as a student, that is something which your objective perhaps is. Gemini will definitely help you to plan, write assignments, study, build up those studying skills and academic skills, all while as you use it responsibly. So we are going to be definitely trying to cover this to make sure that you stay confident and you get informed about what Gemini is and how do you make the best of Gemini. Again, as we are looking at the time that we have with us, 90 minutes, in that we are going to cover certain major aspects. And what are we going to talk about? To start with just a very basic conversation on what AI is and where AI is headed and how does Gemini fit into that picture. We will also talk about the AI ethics and academic integrity, which I think you are confidently, aware of and following. Then we will also talk about how to get the best out of Gemini in terms of what you ask and how you ask. That is the prompts. How do you write the prompts, right? We'll also show you, of course, live demos. So get ready to experiment with me. And if you have the Gemini app on your phone, or if you are on a bigger device, open up gemini.google.com and get ready to explore Gemini with me. We will also, of course, wrap up with few resources, which you will be able to access after the session as well through the YouTube description and, of course, the feedback form, as has already been mentioned. As we start on this session, it will be interesting to know what you think is one thing that you wish AI could help you with at present where you are, that is in a university. Maybe also think about how you are already using AI in your study as a student role or as a, one would say, experimental user of AI. How is AI helping you? And what can you, or what do you want to possibly do or wish that AI can do for you? Let's again have you active in the chat. Let us know, and I will make sure that I follow it later and see, what brilliant ideas you are coming up with. Maybe some of you are writing that you want to save time. Maybe some of you are going to say that you want to score better. And why not? Being a student, that must be your goal. All of that is possible with the Gemini, and we are going to try and talk about and cover some of the great benefit, of the what Gemini brings to you. But before we jump right into those tools, let's take a moment to talk about certain basics. But I'm not going to go into a full-fledged, computer science lecture here. We are going to be talking about certain buzzwords, certain terms that you definitely should be aware of and maybe hearing all around as well. Starting with the fact, what is artificial intelligence? Definitely, again, use YouTube chat to let us know what your understanding of AI is. But one thing is certain, that AI has been around, and AI powers so many of the tools that we use daily. Right from, the maps that we follow, Google Maps that we follow, or the recommendations that come up when you are following any social media channel, watching YouTube, or even Netflix. All that is being governed by AI. So let's pin down a definition. Artificial intelligence, or AI, refers to the computer programs that have the ability to mimic certain cognitive functions. Functions usually associated with human intelligence. Think about that. It's artificial intelligence is thinking like brain of a human man, right? So human beings' intelligence is being mimicked there. That means AI can recognize patterns, make recommendations, interpret language, and so on. So what sets this AI apart from traditional software is that it can improve over time. It keeps learning over time. And that is what keeps it exciting. So making that AI helpful for everyone is the goal of Google as well. So one would say, all right, we know Google as a powerful search engine. What is the role of Google, or why is Google interested in developing AI? Now, Google has been developing AI for decades. It's not just for last 2 or 3 years, ever since you and I have got more aware of it. So it definitely, the whole idea of development of AI for Google goes back to their core mission. Organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. So AI is one of those powerful tools to help bring that mission to life. So Google sees AI as a transformational technology, not something to replace people, but to support them. And that's exactly what it would do for you as a student, as in your student's life. Let's also look at some of the common AI terms. I'm sure you have come across these terms. Maybe you are already studying deeper into these two major terms that are showing up. One is machine learning. So machine learning is a subset of AI. Instead of being told exactly what to do, these systems learn by spotting patterns in data and then improve based on what they find. Whereas Gen AI, which is really what we are going to focus on today, and which has actually brought AI into our vocabulary and into our day-to-day work, is called as Gen AI or generative AI. It takes in loads of information and then creates something very exciting, which we could not think of earlier to happen so easily. Whether it is new text or images or even code for you. So person like me who has never coded a line is now able to think of what we call as vibe coding and create something behind which hundreds and thousands of lines of codes are working. And of course, generate audios or videos with not much than a natural language command. So that is what Gen AI does. Isn't that exciting? There are certain other buzzwords that are going to be constantly referred to. So I have already mentioned prompt. We will be talking about prompts a little more. So what is prompt? That's simply the input or request that you give the AI. We also hear and talk about the word or term like tokens. So tokens are those small chunks of information that AI uses to process language, like part of a word, image, or even video. And then, of course, the context window. Context window is the amount of information the AI can process at once, which is measured in tokens. So all of these terms are something which are heard, talked about, mentioned whenever reference to AI comes up. So it's good to be aware of them. You want to go deeper into it. Well, we will talk about how you learn today. So you may even take the help of AI to learn about AI, right? So let's go ahead and meet the hero of the day. That's Gemini. So in mainly in this session, we'll be talking about Gemini as your personal AI assistant in your role as a student, right? So we have to be ready and think about what Gemini can do to help you be a better student. At the same time, we will also end up by talking and bringing you the other very important tool, that is Notebook LM, which is also great help and can have multiple use cases as a student. As I said earlier, you can access Gemini both on app or on the browser as well. So if you have got the phone and you don't have the Gemini app on your phone, you may, just right now scan the QR code and download from any Play Store that your phone works with. And if you can sign into another device, bigger device, then you can go to gemini.google.com, and this is the interface that you would end up with. So you're able to get that little screen showing here where your name will pop up because you've signed in your Gmail ID, and you'll be able to start talking using Gemini. So it's as simple as that. Also, Gemini that we are going to be referring to is the free version. We are also hoping that some of you are associated with institutions where Google Workspace for Education is there. So please use your Google Workspace for Education accounts to test out Gemini, to work with Gemini, because all your data will absolutely remain secure, private, right within the institution domain. Nobody else is get to see the history and follow that data and use it to train any other models. So that's one pro tip for you if you are, or if your institution has Google Workspace for Education. When you open the web app of Gemini, this is the kind of interface that you get to see, where on the left side is where your all chats are going to show up, whereas on the main page, there is a chat box where we will type in or speak the prompt as well. We'll also be able to use various tools of Gemini, which we are trying to showcase today, where you will have guided learning, we will have deep research, of course, creating images with the power of Nano Banana. We are also looking at gems, which can be seen on the left side. These are few of the things that you can see happening, and we will be able to start using them soon enough. If again, there is still a question mark in your mind as to how is Gemini going to help you achieve more, then that's what this slide talks about. Gemini and tools of Gemini will help you deepen understanding with on-demand support. You will ask what you need. You will ask for help. And it will give you help not by just giving you the entire answer in one go, but also help you with step-by-step guidance. Of course, it will help you for exams because you can create your own personalized practice quizzes. You can use Gemini for brainstorming, for research ideas, also get feedback on writing and help you generate the citations and verify those citations as you want. If you are setting out for your future career and you want to send out your resume, want someone to give you feedback, Gemini will be your friend to do that. And again, I did mention, we'll definitely try to squeeze in time for Notebook LM, where we will learn about the power of Notebook LM, where it is again personalized AI research assistant working solely on the sources that you share. And so it will respond, chat, reply, create only on the sources that you will share with Notebook LM. So I'll again highlight main difference as to what I meant right now by your sources. As we begin, as I did say, always think about, am I doing the right thing or not using AI? So what are the things or what are the points that you must consider before you blindly start using any kind of AI tool? One, respect the rules of your institution. So if there is a restriction by your maybe professor or university about the use of AI, then definitely follow that. Make sure that you do not share any or too many personal and sensitive confidential information with AI tools. And this I'm talking about in general as well. Write specific prompts, clear prompts so that you get the best result. Gemini will also allow you to double check the sources, but be aware that there can be some bias or hallucinations, so you need to be aware of them. Also, whenever you use AI, whether you have created images or you are creating a document or you are creating any video, any content that you create with Gemini or any AI, always give credit to that. Mention that in your documents. Acknowledgement is essential. Also, make sure that the final work reflects your own thinking, which basically means that AI is going to support your learning, not replace it. Right? So let's get started with thinking about what are you going to ask a Gemini to do? Because we did see there was just one chat box there where I can start typing. This is where you need to be aware of writing effective prompts. Prompt writing is an art, and different frameworks can be suggested which can help you get better result. We are going to recommend following the parts framework, where you have 4 components. As you can see on my screen highlighted, you're looking at persona, act, recipient. So as I'm reading these acronyms, you can see that there is also a way how or what why we are calling it that. So take a look at persona. Persona what will do? It will set Gemini a role. So what do you want Gemini to act as? Do you want it to act like a professor, or do you want it to act like a third-year undergraduate student? You are going to define that role. And then ask clearly for the task. That's where act comes. Say who it is for. Who do you want this result to be for? And then, of course, topic or content, that's the theme. And what kind of a format do you want to get out of the Gemini? That will give you the structure. Maybe sometime you want a list of points, or you wanted to create, you want the output to be a tabulated content. So ask for a tabulated content. So all of that need to be given, mentioned. Sometimes you can also say, I want real life examples. So you're looking at a prompt here, and let's see what are the various components it has now when I've used these same PARTS kind of a classification. So acting as a physics expert becomes a persona that you want Gemini to take. Explain the concept. What do you want Gemini to do? What topic is again highlighted under the theme, entropy in thermodynamics. Who do you want this to be explained for? A person who doesn't know physics or is unfamiliar with physics. And what kind of a format you want? What do you specifically want in the answer or in the output is to provide some real world example. So when you use a prompt like this, the output is going to be better, right? But again, iteration is important. You will iterate if you don't get what you were seeking. So it doesn't have to be a hard and fast rule to follow this, but definitely it is helpful to know this structure. So why don't we now get started with trying it out and doing some live demo? Let's think of our first, one of the common scenario any student comes across. Today, you were taught a topic, you finish a class, came back, and then you start doubting yourself. Did I learn everything in class today? Will I be able to answer the questions based on what was taught today, tomorrow, or maybe after 2 days? So what can one do? You can create a quiz for yourself to test what you have learned today. So let's just get started with opening Gemini, and then from there, bring up this discussion. So this is where Gemini is. I have now shared my Gemini tab. This is where it's calling out and say hi to me, and I have the chat box open right here. This is where we can start typing and asking it to perform a task for us. So what do I want as my first task? I want some kind of a check of the topic that I might have done today. So let's assume I learned something called as game theory, which you learn in economics or any other stream as well. So I'm going to ask Gemini to create an interactive MCQ style quiz on game theory, and maybe just 5 questions so that we get an idea as to what it looks like. So I'm going to just straight away submit this prompt. That's all I've done. I've not been very, very clear in my instructions in terms of not added any other context, etc. Very direct, create an interactive MCQ on game theory with 5 questions. Now, instead of giving me a list of 5 questions with answers or choices, I have got an interactive MCQ. Let's take a look at what that means and how fun it is to get not only the, one would say feedback, but more. So just let me quickly go through these 5 questions and show you the way it responds. Also, I'm not going to think too much about the answers. So let's get some answers wrong. So I've got my first answer wrong, but it doesn't just say wrong. It gives me the feedback, not quite, and then it's explaining what that particular answer is for and what should be the right answer. So hopefully, as a student, when you start thinking about it, you are now actually checking your own knowledge. And if you are not sure of the answer, then you are learning the right answer as well. This is the power of Gemini. So I've got 5 questions, and maybe I'm one of those students who like to skip questions. I'm not going to answer this. I'm not too sure, but nobody's watching you. So don't do that. Just test it for yourself. But let's see what happens, what kind of report I get. I'm going to say done. And now what it is doing is it has given me the report. I've got 2 on 5 correct, 40% accuracy, but it also tells me you got 2 right, 2 wrong, and then 1 I skipped. More than that, there is an analysis of your performance, but it gets better. It gives you flashcards to revise the concept. You have not given any content right now except for the topic. Just on that one prompt, you have so much that you can take forward. You have a study guide. You can also review your quiz as to which questions I got wrong, what would be the right answer. And then you can also add more questions. Here also you have a choice. You can choose the questions which you went wrong with and build more questions on it. So you choose growth areas. You can also say how many you want. Do you want 5, 10, 20 more? It's going to generate that for you. That is the beauty of Gemini. What you are looking at, the output that you are getting are going to come in varied forms. So multimodal is one word that we use for Gemini. Soon enough, you will see that right now I've got flashcards, but I could have generated many other kind of outputs as well. So let's get going. Let's not just stop at this one particular example and one particular demo. Let's get going and let's take a look at another particular scenario. What could be the scenario? Maybe now it's a long break, right? It's not a day-to-day assessment that's happening. It's perhaps is a long break and you have come home or you are sitting down now to study, to revise, but you have loads of doubts. And maybe you don't have any friend on WhatsApp who's going to chat with you. So how do you study? This is where one another very powerful tool in Gemini, built for learning based on principles of learning, can be utilized, known as guided learning. So guided learning basically is to help you select the topic that you want to work with, and then it will prompt you, it will push you with probing questions, not giving you answer in one go, and help you to learn that concept. Let me show you a quick demo of it so that you understand how or what are the advantages as we choose in our tools the guided learning tool. So I'm going to go back to Gemini, and instead of continuing with this conversation, because this topic or this chat was on game theory, let's go on to the left side and choose new chat. So every time you change the topic, choose new chat and then start off. So there is this little 3 bars on the side. Close or click on it, it will collapse the menu and you'll have a bigger space for you to interact with Gemini. And here is where I'm going to ask for help in my homework or in my particular topic that I want to revise. I have a prompt ready to show you as to what I'm going to use. And instead of now submitting it directly, I'm going to choose the tool which will help me to learn this topic in a proper manner, in a way where I'm not just, consuming the information, but I'm also thinking. So your critical analysis, your revision of the topic with what you have learned and what you have not, all comes together here. I'm going to choose guided learning. So what is the question here? Help me with this homework. And I'm asking for certain primary functions of SERs and RERs. So let's just click on, but please note, I have selected the tool of guided learning. If you don't do that, then it's not going to respond in the same manner that I'm going to show right now. So that's get highlighted in blue. Let's click on and submit button, and it just processes your prompt, looks at what the topic to you. So it says, okay, let's explore the roles of the SER and RER together, and I will ask guiding questions along the way. So definitely it gives you the definition, it gives you the information, but it also helps you to go along with it. It's also showing the sources. So if you ever have a doubt about where is this information coming from, I'm not seeing this, click on this link there and get back to that source from where this particular information has been extracted. More beautiful stuff coming in here where you are able to get an image to help you understand the topic. Now with Gemini 3, these images that have come up are interactive images. Take a look. If I take the cursor somewhere, once I click on explore, it starts getting interactive, right? So a basic stock image has now become an interactive image. If I click on a certain part of this image, for example, SER has got highlighted now, nucleus. So think about your role right now. What course are you doing? Do you think when you are learning, having a possibility of not just the text, but an image, adding in that description and that to an interactive image, help you learn better? It doesn't just stop there. It's just not text and image and an answer. Remember, we said it's going to probe you to think with questions. So it says, okay, which area would you like to explore first? Given 3 choices. Maybe I'm just going to not type too much. I'm going to just type 1 because I want to talk about the structural difference. And I've chosen 1 and it will now start responding. It also is encouraging me. That's a great place to start. And it starts describing more and more of the topic. And it doesn't just stop there. It just also asks you, Not just choose what you want to study. It's also testing how, if you have understood or do you remember. So it says, what do you remember about the main job of ribosomes in a cell? Till you answer, it will not proceed. Maybe you can also say, I'm not sure. So it will say, okay, doesn't matter. Let me help you revise. Let me recall few more facts for you. That is guided learning. It's an amazing tool for all of you. Make sure that you make most of this situation, because as a student, you don't want to just get the answer. You want to think of those answers. So do use guided learning for homework help, but choose that tool first and then move on. You can also ask it to check the code. You can also ask it for about a new topic. Maybe you just want to learn about photography as a passion, but you've never had a chance for someone to teach you what photography is. So maybe use learning guide to, or rather guided learning to learn about a certain hobby that you are passionate about. So these are just a few ideas. We would love to see, what you are going to try guided learning for. Or right now, as you have seen, maybe you got inspired and excited to try out learning something on your own using this tool. Moving on. What else do you get as a challenge in your classroom situations? Well, maybe at the almost end of the academic year we are, or rather year as it is, but maybe you're asked to, at the end of the term, semester, you're being asked to give a short presentation to your class. So you've been given a topic, or you have identified your topic. Now what you need to do is dig deep into the research. So you need to find those reliable sources and take the best out of those reliable sources, explore those key ideas, and then of course start shaping your main points. That's what you need to do as a research. And Gemini has the perfect tool for the research, which is known as the deep research. Where deep research comes in, you are looking at as a possibility of exploring not just 5 or 10, hundreds of websites, from where deep research will figure out and fish out the best information related to your topic. Not only just collate that information, it will put that together as multi-page documents, and it will also help you to learn that topic. Let's try it out and see how it appears in Gemini. So again, going back to Gemini, I'm going to change my screen. See, here is where we were. Go back and open a new chat. Always open a new chat. So let's think of, what topic you want to do as a, take as a deep research. Absolutely, up to you to think about, and choose a particular, or think about a particular topic which you are passionate about. Maybe you've been given a chance to learn. So let me check if my screen is visible. Is the screen okay? Star team, if you can tell me. I'm kind of gone blank on this.
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Right.
It's visible.
All right. I thought there was a ping, so maybe there was some disturbance. All right. So this is where we are. And let's think of, what do you want to do research on? Very important, right? What am I going to ask Gemini to do research on? So I'm going to keep it as a very general topic. So maybe you are a sociology student or psychology student or even a language student, and you need to do a research. So first thing, I'm going to give a persona. So I'm going to say you are an academic research assistant. I'm preparing a short university presentation on how social media affects focus and productivity. And then some more instructions, like what have I done so far and what kind of takeaways I want, and also list some credible sources, etc. Even if you don't mention most of this part, where what kind of takeaways, etc. you want, do remember you're going to choose for the research the deep research tool. So click on tools and click on select deep research. Now, what it also allows you to do is, it asks you, do you want to add some more sources with this prompt? Those sources can come from the workspace apps like, of course, search, or Gmail, or Drive, or even a Google chat. If you have had a discussion with your mentor or a guide, using Google chat, maybe from there, or some documents that you have already worked on, which are in your Drive, you can even refer to them in this deep research, or attach some files as well here. These are additional information that you can give in addition to activating the deep research tool. I'm going to click and submit this arrow, and this is where the magic starts happening. Deep research will always take a little more time than the earlier demonstrations, because it's going to share what it is going to do, how or what it is thinking about as a plan of action, keeping everything very transparent. So first thing that you get is, I put together a research plan. If you need to update it in any way, let me know. So here is where it gives you the plan as to how it's going to go analyze, investigate. If you click on more, then it tells you explore the impact, research the specific design, etc., etc. But if you're thinking of something more specific because you've done your groundwork, you're not going to start deep research without the basic understanding of what your requirements are. So this is where you can go and edit the plan as well, because you might have another angle to add to this deep research. So you can edit this plan, and once you're satisfied with it, click on Start Research. As I click on Start Research, it starts exploring through all the possible websites where the topic that you have chosen for deep research is giving you valuable information. So see how it says show thinking. So it's giving you the thinking as well as to what Gemini is doing in this deep research. It's creating a structure of the research, targeting academic depth, next steps for source discovery, and all these websites that you don't even know exist. It's going to go and search through them. It also shares more information, and you can see that it is taking a lot of time to process, collate, pick up the key ideas related to the topic that you have asked it to research on from all of these websites. So again, this definitely will maybe take a little more time than usual. As you can see here is an indication. We have kind of covered a little more than half of this circle. So what we will do is we'll let this happen. You can always, as the suggestion is, meantime, feel free to leave this chat. So I'm going to open up on the side something which I had explored and kept ready. So let's find exactly the same prompt and see what we get from there. So this is where we had started with. So let me bring you here, and this was Start Research, and this is what comes out of all the websites, all the thinking plans that were shared together, and it has created multi-page report, very nicely formatted with a heading and subheadings, etc., listing out the information the way that Gemini has identified the information from all the 50 plus or more websites. So this is the benefit of looking at the deep research, creating multi-page document. Let's explore this a little more closely. Take a look at this little arrow, learn more. So suppose you read this passage and you say, oh, that sounds interesting. It's quite useful for my research, but I want to learn more about it. When you click it, you will find the source from where this information has been taken. So remember, we said that you should do a double check, etc. So if you're not too convinced with where this information is coming in, because you're doing the research, right? Now you've been led to the right information, but you need to understand it. You want to go into the depth. Click on this little arrow and you will reach the source from where this has been fetched. Now, this was only the text that we are looking at. Take a look at the top bar here. There is a share and export. So I can just take this entire link and share. I can export to docs. Of course, I can copy the content. More than that, let's look at this interesting button of create. Click on create and you can do all of these 5. I can create a web page, infographic, quiz, flashcards, audio overview. Isn't that interesting? Just a research leading to this because you've done the research. Do you want to share it with your community? Create a web page. Code is available, which you can take and add to your maybe Google site, or even create an HTML file out of that and then get it ready to be shared ahead. Infographic, putting that information in a more colorful, more with the diagrams is always helpful. Again, just to save time, I kept some of this ready so that I can show you how it looks like. So the web page that it has created is this. This is the web page that it has created. It's very much interactive web page where you have these little tabs on the top for you to open up the sub pages or part of it, right? You're also looking at, if I'm coming here, you have all these graphs and pie charts kind of pictures which are interactive. If I take my cursor there, it tells me, highlights. And if you go further down, you also have these little cards of information which you click open. So if you have done the research, let's reverse the flow now. If you have done the research, started with, but then you want to add and enhance more, use that content, ask Gemini to do a deeper research with the deep research, put together the information in a web page just as this, and then make a presentation in your class. Code, as I mentioned, is happening right here. Now, code has not been created just by deep research. The code part is actually being created by the canvas in Gemini. So when we showed you the various tools, there is one amazing possibility of using canvas. So canvas is, see here, this is that symbol icon for canvas. So canvas got activated. Now canvas is the one which helps you to create interactive. It's basically interactive output that has come in based on codes. So you have all these codes that are running behind the interactions that and the artifacts that we have got right now, web page, and then of course infographic, etc. And we could click on preview and we could see all of this. It also interacts in live. So you can do a live editing. You can ask Gemini to enhance it. So there are little, tools here as well. We may not have time to explore everything, but just kind of guiding you towards that next time you create something in Canvas, look at things like here as well. Let's move on. What else did I talk about? Web page. And then we said that you can create infographics. So maybe let's open this and okay, now that's a quiz actually, but I do have infographic as well here. So you can look at that information being put as an infographic. If you have more data in your research, better infographics would be created. But even with this report, you are able to get that infographic coming in a tabulated form, more easy to understand and present. More than that, when we talked about the various possibilities, you can also create an audio overview. You can create a quiz. So when I say audio overview, again, something like this, which you can actually even download. So when you download, basically it becomes like a podcast that you can maybe carry with you, listen to it before you are ready to present. So if you want to do a quick revision of your research before you present your research, this may be a way for you to learn and revise. You can also share this conversation. So if I just click on this, it will create a public link And if you pass on that to somebody to see, to hear and say, is that making sense or not? Or you want to share your research on any social media, then that can also be done. I'm not playing this right now, but we'll come back to more of those audio overviews later. You can also create quiz or flashcards. So here is one flashcard that has been created on this topic. So flashcards can be really helpful in revising. So again, various ways that you can learn is what the Gemini is trying to support you with. So this is how you can, go and explore as many cards as you want. Each one of them will, so like the word is coming up, click on it, right? Before you click, recall where or when do we use the word dopamine, and then what exactly it means. So to build up even vocabulary, to revise vocabulary, these kind of flashcards are absolutely helpful. And in this case, the entire deep research is being put together with this. So that is the beauty of deep research. I hope this is something which is exciting, and it is something which you are able to, relate to and see that the novelty in this is that just by one, prompt, so many possibilities have resulted in output, which you are able to share, export, and then, as I said, create from here. I did mention there is a quiz as well. So if you want to just create a quiz for yourself, then go ahead and try this from here. I hope you are listening carefully and also sharing what, is this something useful? Let's use the YouTube chat. I'm just going to take a sip of water and get back to you. But let me know in the chat if you are going to apply and use deep research and how. Waiting to, see that coming up in the YouTube chat. And again, how do we or where do we use the deep research? Maybe you just want to identify the research gaps. Maybe you want to look at writing deep, some grant proposals. So you can again say, oh, I want to do a research on this, but I need money. Can we, do a deep research on building up that grant proposal? Explore career paths. And of course, always check claims. So you want to ensure that everything is correct. And of course, make, interdisciplinary connections, because deep research will go across websites. So if you have a topic that is, multidisciplinary, definitely a deep research is going to help in such a situation, right? Okay, what else do we need to talk about? We are again interested to think of other possibilities where you get a chance to learn. And not just, learn, but learn at your own pace. So again, learning is our focus right now. And there are different ways. Guided learning was one of them that we talked about. At the same time, Gemini has more than just that chat box. It has what we call as gems. Let me know in the chat if you have ever heard or used gems of Gemini. These gems are basically customized AI, where you are able to, one would say, that if suppose there are tasks that you are repeatedly doing, for which similar, if not exactly the same prompts are being required. Think of those tasks. If you're repeatedly doing those kind of tasks, then gems is something which is helpful, because it will be trained, it will be your customized AI. It will be trained to answer to your query in the context that it is made for. We are going to demonstrate Learning Coach gem, and then try to also make one gem for you right here, which is customized based on perhaps the content that you might be using in your classroom. So let's talk about, what gems are. Again, going back to the Gemini window, trying to show you where the gems are. This was all deep research. Come to these 3 bars. And this is where on the left panel, there's a little bit of a change from the previous version, which was appearing, say, in last 4 or 5 days to what is currently available. You also have, my work, whatever recent explorations showing up in the right at the top. And then you have gems. Some older version, if yours has not got updated, will also say manage gems, right? So if you click on the gems, it will show you some of the pre-made gems by Google right here, called as Gem Manager. If you click on show more, it will show you some of the pre-made gems which are being made and shared by Google. And if you are opened Gemini in your education account, then you may not be able to see the kind of gems that are showing on my screen, because in education, there will be always a certain difference in the way that it appears in my consumer account. But one of the gems which is very interesting is the storybook gem, where you can actually create picture books. Well, not just like the little ones, picture books. Maybe you are a coder and you want to write a storybook about how you learn coding, or how you want to maybe code something and create something fancy, and that output or robot that you have created starts talking to you. If you're getting those fancy ideas, use Storybook to create one for you. That's something for you to try later on your own, in your own time. But right now, I'm going to use maybe Learning Coach to show you what the role of Learning Coach is. Before that, you can also take a look at, there is something called Career Guide, Brainstormer. So Career Guide basically will unlock, it says unlock your career potential. It will give you a detailed plan. So it will ask you some questions based on which it will then give you a tailored response. Let's look at Learning Coach. So in Learning Coach, again, it says, okay, what do you want to learn? Tell me what you would like to learn and I will help you get started. You can, talk about binary numbers, explain what factors led to the fall of Roman Empire, etc. You can use any of these as your prompt to think about, what you want to learn, a particular topic. It could have been game theory that I talked about right at the beginning. Or if you continue with thinking about the social media, maybe I can use this prompt. Tell me about the psychology of social media apps at an undergraduate level. I'm going to click that. So right now, this tool is only made to help you learn. Learning Coach. It will guide you. Almost like guided learning, but here we can do a little more. So take a look at this. It will break down the topic into manageable undergraduate level concepts. It will give you the learning plan summary, and then it will say, are you ready to dive in? So maybe the good answer would be yes, and it will start responding alongside. Also, you can see the tone is very encouraging, because when this gem was created, certain basic instructions were given as to how or what you are going to say when the student interacts with you. So this is typically how the gem responds, and it will explain, but then it will also say, okay, to make sure this sinks in, could you tell me how is, so it's given you a question based on the description that has gone before it. Basically making sure that you keep answering, continue the conversation to fro and learn. That's what coaches do, right? They'll kind of make sure that you are heading in the right direction. Maybe it's a good point where we can shift over and create a new gem for ourselves. Are we ready? Let's go back to gems and create a new gem right from here. This is the kind of interface that opens up. Everything is blank right now. We are going to create this to a very specific purpose. Again, keeping the academics only in mind. So maybe I can give it a name like My EVS Coach. So I'm going to take a very specific content. That means I can actually attach a file from here, making that as the knowledge base. And I can give the instructions to the gem as to how to behave, what to answer, and how to proceed with the conversation. So these are the mandatory, one would say, so not the knowledge is not the mandatory box, but this one is definitely needed where you give the instructions. Description again is optional, but yes, you can say this is to help me learn EVS, right? So let's figure out what are the instructions I want to give to this. Again, absolutely your choice, what you want coach to behave like. You want him or her, I'm using him, but do you want your coach to be strict? Do you want your coach to be, talk to you in a jovial, in a excited manner, and maybe your kind of language, which you understand and you are happy to? You can give those instructions. Right now, I'm going to make my coach to be a joyful, engaging, and patient tutor, which will be my personal learning coach. And what's his role? His role is to guide undergraduate students through their coursework, help them grasp key concepts from their source book. That means I'm going to actually take a source book, maybe that entire PDF of 600 pages, and add that file here. You can add multiple files also. But before I do that, I want to enhance this prompt. There is a little Gemini pen, right? Use Gemini to rewrite instructions. I'm going to click on this little pen here, and this starts doing the magic. It will make this prompt so brilliant, giving it all kind of, structure of persona, text, context, and the format. Take a look at this. So here is the persona that it is defining, starting with what I had given, that remains there. Somewhere I had also in my prompt mentioned that use emojis, right? Because I want my conversation to be a little more colorful in the way it comes out. Purpose and goals are being specified. This is now all Gemini has done. Nothing, you don't have to think about what are the things that I must write or not write. Basic prompt enhanced with Gemini. That's the benefit of using this little rewrite with Gemini pen. And as you can see, it's also giving a methodology, which I don't mention, but it's made it to be an essential part. Even the tone and style, because I want my coach to be friendly, jovial, right? And then incorporate a wide variety of relevant emojis. For example, there's a green fern and a bulb and a smile, and all of that coming in to maintain a fun and lively atmosphere. Before we get this ready and start seeing how it works, let's find a file to attach with. So where do we get these files? You can either upload or you can add from your drive. Let's see if I have from, and of course it has photos. I haven't actually seen much use of the photos in this, but yes, if for a learning coach, but if I change the purpose of Gem, for example, I want to take certain style of photography and I want that to be the context, maybe then the photos would be helpful. Right now, I'm going to click on add from drive. So it's going to go into my drive and I'm going to find a particular textbook. This is the one EVS that I want, and I'm going to insert it in my Gem. So let's bring that again in focus. This is how it looks like. Now I'm ready for this to get going as soon as the PDF gets uploaded. I hope you noticed the difference that everything had grayed out, but the moment the document has got completely uploaded, the save button got highlighted, and now I'm ready to try it out. If you are not too sure of what it is going to behave like, you can test run it right now before you click on save. How do we test it? How do we activate it? Is simply saying hi or hello, right? Just because you're going to like talking to your Gem. And here the conversation starts. Hello, future environmental leaders, because I wanted it to be jovial and, be very engaging. And then it says, okay, I see you have brought your source book. It's read through your book. And then it says which chapter or key concept from the book are you studying and would like to break down today. This is where the conversation starts. So you can say, okay, let's start from the first chapter, etc., etc. Maybe when I'm writing the description, or rather the instructions, I can also say that give the list of the chapters to the student to choose from. And then the student will select, because you may not want to write the entire name of the chapter. Then you can choose chapter 1 or chapter 8. But right now, I think I'm going to just save this. And as soon as you save it, now this is your gem. Gem has been created and added to your gem manager page. Try chatting or create another, etc. So I can start chat. And this is where it just opens up neat, tidy. Instructions will not show. This now is ready. Every time, whether you're on chapter 1 or chapter 5, you can open up your EVS coach and say, okay, I want to learn, or if you start saying hi and say, okay, let's start the conversation. So it will ask you what, chapter you are looking for. I can say, because I don't remember the chapter right now, but I can say chapter 5. So it is possibly going to look into the book, and I'm hoping there is a chapter 5 because I didn't pay attention, but yes, it's going to go through your entire source and then try to get the extract out of that and start talking and making sure that you are able to answer the questions based on that content as well. Think of various ways where you will use GEM. Before, I'm just waiting for it to load, but give me some ideas that you are thinking about where having a GEM is going to help you. My very basic initial share was that whenever you are looking for the same kind of prompt, right? So chapter 5, chapter 8, but you're learning from the same book. So in that case, we are looking at a possibility of creating the GEM where maybe, for example, you have a full lab manual, right? And you have to constantly refer to it to check the do's and the don'ts. Feed your entire lab manual here and make this a GEM as a lab help. You want to know, okay, in this experiment, what are the objectives that I want to always write? What are the things that I need to be prepared with if I'm going to do experiment 9? It'll give you all the list of those items. That's one of the things that I have tried and it works beautifully, right? So as a student, give it a try and think. Right now, what did it say? That's a fantastic chapter to tackle. Chapter 5, what can we do? Because it's an EVS book on global warming, and it also leads to some action steps, etc. So it starts talking to you and it will show you the source. Source is your book. Isn't that amazing? So you can go back and learn right out of your book from here. So this is what we can do with GEMs, much more than what I have been able to show you in this short time. But possibilities are immense, when we come to think of using Gemini, just Gemini. As I said at the beginning, we will be also talking about Notebook LM, but wanted to just share that using Canvas, you can do or create, magical things, specifically for those who have never learned coding. And you always wonder, how people do things like maybe create games, those interactive simulations. So if you are learning something and you wish that there was a particular app or a simulation which will help you learn better. For example, this one, where you are looking at how the path of planets is going to follow the Keplerian dynamics. There is a simulator that can be created. This has been created just by Canvas in Gemini. So you can look at those animations being created. You can also look at these bars which will change the sliders coming in. So you can change the position, change the planet mass, etc. This is all coming but just by using the Canvas, where the instructions are fed in words. Just a playful game, star chaser. All the prompt that you are going to need is, I want to create a star chaser kind of a game. And it is going to give you that opportunity. Don't ask me to play because I'm not able to keep up with that, but here one star thought. So that's the kind of things that you can do with vibe coding in Canvas. This is something leaving you with, kind of excitement, leaving you with the possibilities that Gemini has. Before I move over to my very, very favorite app known as the Notebook LM, which is amazing, which is just simply amazing. So I'm keeping enough time to cover that. And let's talk about Notebook LM now. Again, checking in the chat. How many of you have come across Notebook LM? Have you created any Notebook LM? Have you read something about Notebook LM? Answer in the chat. So what does Notebook LM actually do, partner? It's like having an intelligent notebook. So if you are studying something, what happens usually, you might have class notes. You might have 2 or 3 reference books. You might have a video that has been shared by your guide, or you have come across some kind of information which you just noted down on a scrap of paper. So you have all these information available with you, web links as well. You want to put them all together to make your lessons better. That is what Notebook LM does. It puts all these resources, these sources that you have got, acquired from various ways that you were learning the topic, and then it acts on them. So when we are looking at these sources being put together, these sources can be of all kinds: PDFs, even an MP3 audio, can be Google Docs, slides, YouTube videos, or any kind of handwritten text which you have kind of scanned and made a PDF or even a JPEG. Also, Notebook LM can understand over 50 languages. So that's also a possibility. If you want to learn in your own language, you can make use of Notebook LM as well. This is what Notebook LM looks like in terms of its structure. There are 3 panels in it. The leftmost is for the sources that I was just talking about in various format. In Notebook LM, you can add in 50 sources, because again, we are not talking about the Pro version here. The Pro would allow you for almost up to 300, but this is the free version that you have, whether it is coming from your workspace, where the interactions will be done and the contents and etc. will show up. The third panel is the most interesting one, where we are looking at the various ways the information can be processed and shared. So what are the various ways? So it's called Studio Panel. You will be able to create a podcast style audio overview, study guides, FAQ docs. Now specifically, as we are looking at the Gemini 3 coming in, you can also create infographics. But for that, of course, you would need to wait, because in the free accounts, it's still in beta mode, whereas with the Pro, it is available. And even a slide deck. Slide deck, by the way, I have to say this before I forget, you can just ask Gemini directly and open the canvas and say, okay, canvas mode on, and you ask it to create slides or presentation, and it will create slides which you can open in Google Slides. But Gemini will create, the Notebook LM will create slides only on the sources that you want to share. That is the key and the USP of Notebook LM. So let's start looking at a Notebook LM and see what are the things that you can do and how you get started. I hope you are still, listening and, here, attentive. Let's keep that YouTube chat live. Let's share what you have learned and what is exciting for you, and what maybe you have already tried and have created a Notebook LM. Where have you used it already? We are very eager to learn from you as well. So this is what Notebook LM looks like. How do we reach this page? notebooklm.google. Put that in the browser and you are here. Notebook LM, by the way, has a very robust mobile app as well. In the studio, you may not be able to create all kind of outputs on a mobile app, but you can still do plenty. So that's again something for you to think about. You can just click on try Notebook LM and it will open the entire, front page of Notebook LM like this. Mine has got, some of the Notebook LMs that I might have created in various trainings. But if it is a consumer account and you have never used it, you will possibly get some of these recommended or featured notebooks created by Google. So you can see, lots of interesting notebooks already there. If you are a language student, you will be happy to see the entire, William Shakespeare notebook, which has all these various plays, all 45 sources added in here where the conversations can start from. But don't get just excited with this. You can, of course, explore and learn lots from here. Let me take you back to my notebooks and you can now start creating your own right from this big black button. Before we create, I'm going to show you how or what it does. Starting with this little, just one source notebook. I have just used one source, which is basically a YouTube video. So this YouTube video is from NPTEL source lectures, which I hope you can see those coming up. This is right, one of the very familiar, very popular lecture series that NPTEL has recorded, and they are available in their archives. I've just used just one source here on Bernoulli's equation, right? So anybody doing, fluid theory, they would possibly have come across this. So this is where the source has been added. This is a 1-hour lecture. Based on this lecture, you're looking at the kind of a brief coming in on the principles and applications of Bernoulli's equations the moment the source is added. And then right underneath, there is a little prompts and chat box open. You can start typing here, or maybe some of the questions that are coming up are what you want to ask to enhance your learning or to get out of this video the best content that you have. You can use directly from here. So you can say, how do diverse real world phenomena utilize Bernoulli's principle? So I've just clicked on it and now the Notebook LM chat gets activated. It explored the material. Right now it is only the one video. The idea is that Notebook LM will only follow the content that has been discussed in this lecture. It will not bring me information that's present maybe in Wikipedia or any other Google search. That is the advantage. And this is where we say that the responses will be grounded in the sources that have been shared. Take a look at these little numbers that are showing here. If I click on 14, then it will tell me exactly, from which part of the video, the script talks about it. Or if it is Wikipedia itself that I have added as a source, then it will highlight that particular part of the Wikipedia from where this particular chat has kind of been taken up. There will be no other, discussion happening here. For example, if I ask a question which is completely out of context of the topic that we are talking, could be, which year, perhaps we can say, which year did Shakespeare, maybe because we did talk about Shakespeare's notebook, Shakespeare, which year did Shakespeare die, perhaps, right? If I ask something like that, it says the provided source and our conversation history do not contain any information about the year Shakespeare died. So you cannot, just ask randomly like a Google search. You will only be able to get answer to those questions based on the source. And here the source is just one video. But that one video is very powerful, because if you see the third side of this notebook LM, which we call as the studio, right at the top, it says you can create an audio overview in these 9 regional languages. So if you want to hear the physics in your own language, you can choose Hindi perhaps, or Bangla or Marathi or any other, and you can learn in your own language, because that we have realized is also a problem for many of us who think in our regional language, but when we are studying, we are not able to do that. So if you can study in your own language, but of course, coming down to writing the exams, if English is the medium, then we do need to write that in English, but learn in your language is an option now for you. What are the things you can create? You can create audio overview, video, mind map, reports, flashcards, quiz, etc. So here is some videos that have been created. If you have done a conversation, you can save it as a note. You can come and access that note later. You can also look at, let's show you some of the things which I kept ready. This is the mind map that we have got created out of just one video. So the Bernoulli's equation, and then I can keep clicking on each of these nodes, and it will expand and give me the information of what that content is. If I want to I'm kind of curious about used for fluid flow problems, when or how, click on that, and it will take you to that particular content from where this little part of the mind map has been built. So you can now come back and read that entire description of where this use has been mentioned or has been elaborated. So mind maps are absolutely amazing way to learn or break down large content in a more systematic way, so that you can spend time browsing through and learning it one by one. Again, what are the other things you can do? Flashcards. So you did see flashcards in deep research, but here again, note the difference. It's based on only one source. That is the YouTube video that we added in. So again, get ready to answer some of those questions. Bernoulli's equation can be interpreted as in energy conservation, etc. If you do not know the answer, click on it, you will get the answer. If you're not happy with the answer, another benefit, additional benefit against what we saw in earlier flashcards is it gives you a chance to learn better. You can say, okay, I want to know where this answer has come. So explain, and again, it will go back to the source. Take out the extract out of that 1 hour lecture on where this discussion has been done. So it elaborates on that content. It doesn't deviate from the content of that YouTube, but you are ready to start learning, improving. Take a look at this according to the lecture, right? I can, of course, make it slightly big, expand here. Now it's only flashcards. So according to the lecture, what 2 fundamental principles, etc. Based on what you have watched or based on the chapter or content that you have, it's possible for you to, improve your learning from. The magic doesn't stop here. We talked about audio overviews. We have video overviews. So I do have audio and video also ready here. Unfortunately, when I play, you may not be able to hear the audio, but so just excuse me for that. But let me show you the video. And this is one of the brief video which I have created here with a specific prompt. And the prompt is that I want it to be giving the significance of Bernoulli's equation. I have not asked that convert that entire 1 hour video into another video. I've asked for a part of the Bernoulli's equation. What is the significance of Bernoulli's equation? You may not again be able to hear it, but it's only 1 minute plus. So I want to show you, what it would look like. Every component will be represented in a graphic way. The visual style you can choose among, the possible that are available. I have chosen paper cut, which gives you that layered effect, and somehow it's something which I enjoy creating with. And every, this visual that is coming here is also accompanied by the audio description as well. So it's all about, how or what command you have given. So let me go back to showing you how you can create a notebook LM and specifically these kind of various outputs from here. Let's take a look at creating the video overview only. Take a look at this. I have a little pen icon as well. So instead of clicking right in the middle, I'm going to click on this pen icon, and then you have these options. Do you want an explainer or brief? So I can choose a brief option for that. And I can also say, what do you want AI hosts to focus on? So this is where I had asked for, significance or application or what is, right? So I can just only say, or maybe I can say, who is Banoli? You can even just, ask for a specific aspect of that lesson, right? And then you can choose the various styles from here and then put this generate button on, which of course, it's not going to happen magically in a second, but definitely it will be able to take a minute or two. You can move on to other, work, and it'll get ready. That's where you are able to customize audio and video overview. Audio, again, it's amazing what it can do. You can have a deep dive, brief, critique, debate. So you can look at all these options happening. Suppose I want a long or short or a default. What do you want the AI host to focus on? And the language, very, very important to make sure that you choose the language in which you want to create that audio overview. These are the things that you can create. Let me close this, but not to forget that you can actually go back and start from scratch. Quick demo, not much to do once you have understood what all can be done inside. All you need to do is get your sources together, right? So this is the screen or pop-up that opens up. Suppose you had closed it. This is the screen that I showed you earlier. This is where we click to add sources. So I've got my pop-up back and I'm going to choose the various files. So YouTube video, websites, links, Google Drive, or copied text. You can paste that text here or choose file of all these various formats, right? So let's find some content to go into this particular notebook. I'm going to stick to Banoli's only because I do have some sources lined up for that, but you can create anything else that you are fascinated with. So if I want to put the YouTube link, I must have the YouTube link ready with me, which I am keeping ready so that we don't waste time. Here is your lecture 11 from NPTEL. And then I want to add more sources as well. I'm not going to keep it to one source. You can go and, pick another content from web or from your course study. Maybe there are certain PDFs that have been shared, or even as I said earlier, you have sat through the lesson. You've made your handwritten notes. Just scan them, make a PDF or take a picture of them, add them. That will become your source based on this. As of now, I'm going to maybe put another link here of a website. So here's a Wikipedia page coming in. Not just sticking to what I have. Maybe I don't have any sources with me. I want to start fresh, but I don't know where. you can actually search the web for new sources within Notebook LM as well. So you can again go to web, best sources from the web, or even in your Google Drive, or you can use the fast research manner to search for the topic. So here is where you have to put the topic where my cursor is. So we are doing Bernoulli's right now. So I'm going to just say Bernoulli's equation. That's my topic. And I'm going to search the web, best sources from the web. Click, and it will start researching the websites. Main thing is that it's going to go and list out all the websites that it can identify. You have to decide, do you want all 30 plus or 10 plus, or do you want to test them first, see what is the content, and then choose selective sources. Take a look at this. You can import them blindly, but I would not. It says 7 more sources. I want to first view them. So this is how that list of sources shows up. Maybe Euler equation and Bernoulli theorem. I want to see what exactly is in it. So I can just click on this little arrow and it will take the source out of that web page. And well, sorry, but that was a PDF. So it started downloading on my system. So I can't show you, but that's a advantage. It started downloading. You can open the PDF and start learning whether it is useful or not. Or what else can I do? Let me find another web page itself. Maybe there was another video. Here's a video. I can open this and listen to it, watch it, and check whether it is something useful for my content or not. If it is so, then I can just, it's, actually solving questions on Bernoulli's equations. Maybe this is something you want. So you can not blindly accept all the sources is what my message is. You can deselect this and maybe keep only the video, and maybe let's keep one more of the PDFs here and import. So now the notebook that I have got is based on these sources, 3 and the 1 originally, or the 2 originally and 2 more that I've added. So 4 sources I've got. That is the advantage. And now you are ready to chat with these sources and create all these, artifacts that come from here. Not to forget that you can share your notebook with other people of your institution. If you're using Workspace Education account, your teachers will be able to, your professors will be able to create notebook LMs and gems and share through Google Classroom. But if you don't want anyone to have an editing right, you can also use anyone with link can view this notebook. You can use that and just copy the link and share. The idea would be they will not be able to remove any of your sources. They'll not be able to create any more video, audio, etc. But if you have created something in your notebook LM, that same will be visible to the people who have access to your notebook. So that's the definite advantage of creating and then sharing with your friends. Maybe you can divide the work and somebody else has shared on chemistry and you have created on physics, and make the best of both the world and enjoy listening, learning, watching, testing yourself with the flashcards and infographic that are available in our pro accounts right now, not available in the consumer account. So wrapping up with all the possible use cases that you can do or make of Notebook LM, make yourself better at analyzing and reading through the content, use it for your test prep. You can also use it for idea generation. Most important, multi-format of those study aids that are coming out of the sources that you have identified. And one of the best one on the go review, use the audio overview because you can download that. So with that, I'm going to, Google has brought for you in terms of Google AI. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sangeeta ma'am. Thank you, everyone, guys. I hope you already have received on your registered email ID the feedback form for your certification. Please fill the feedback form and download your certificate. Secondary thing, you will also get another email. There will be another link or how to use Google Gemini. There's a 50 plus ways how to use it. Good evening, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Welcome.